Where should you live in Sydney if you come here to study as an international student? This is one of the most asked questions that I get, as I am a student that came here as well and has lived in multiple places, and I'm qualified to give you this advice. Whether you're moving here to study, already settled, or thinking about relocating, I'll break down the best suburbs, pros and cons, and some budget-friendly tips. So let's get into it. Now, when you first land in Sydney, your biggest decision in terms of where to live will be, do you want to stay close to your uni and the city and make the most of it and have it be convenient, or live out in the suburbs because you want a slow life or save money and be on a budget? Both have their pros and cons, of course, but depends on the lifestyle that you desire. Living close to the city or your campus will mean you are commuting less and are in the middle of everything, but rent is definitely higher and you'll need to share with people. I've even made a video on how to find accommodation, so go have a look at that if you're curious about the next step. And of course, living further out means you'll be saving on rent, your fixed costs, but you'll need to factor in train and bus rides of when you'll be going to uni or work and things like that. Now let's talk about some of the best areas for students especially. Ultimo, Haymarket and Chippendale are right near UTS, which is where I went to uni, and the University of Sydney as well. You'll find a lot of student apartments where people are sharing the apartment itself or even rooms sometimes. You're already in the city, there's a lot of good food. Downside is obviously the rent, and it might be noisy in some places, especially if you're near Chinatown, Darling Harbour. But I have lived in Ultimo and I can say it's a great area to live. You've got every convenience at your doorstep. You've got uni just 15-20 minutes away by walk, and you've got a whole heap of cafes, restaurants, bars. So if you really want to enjoy that uni life without going to uni housing, let's say, staying near uni in these areas will definitely give you that experience. Second best areas would be Kensington and Kingsford. I've lived in Kingsford. These areas are perfect if you go to UNSW here in Sydney. Plenty of international students live there. Great food options, and it's only a short light rail away to the city, and light rails run really frequently, so that was a huge plus. It's very well connected and it's not far from the city. You know, if public transport is down, you can get a quick Uber, and technically it is the eastern suburbs, which is considered the beachy side of Sydney. But if you don't care about that beach lifestyle or being near uni, you go a little bit out to Newtown, and it is a student favorite as well, along with Glebe, which is right next to it, and Piermont. These areas have got cool artsy vibes, cafes, vintage stores, and it's right next to University of Sydney and not far from UTS and UNSW. Rent is a bit cheaper than the CBD, and it's still not the cheapest, of course, but it's well connected. Lots of cool places, cool bars. It kind of feels like Melbourne if you go there, and it kind of feels different to the rest of Sydney because it's got its own ecosystem essentially of how it runs with this artsy cool vibe, and rest of Sydney is more like, I would say, hustle culture, businessy in the CBD. Eastern suburbs, it's more beachy, of course, but Newtown has its own vibe, so if that vibe suits you, you might want to consider it. Now, if you're looking for something more affordable and want to be around culture, Parramatta is a great option. It's growing to be Sydney's second CBD. A lot of businesses are moving there. So you've essentially got everything. You've got shopping, good food, trains, and it's about 30 to 40 minutes to Sydney City by train. Now, if you don't want to go as far as Parramatta and not as close as Newtown, there are suburbs in the middle that are well connected as well. There's Burwood, Stratfield and Ashfield. These suburbs are popular with international students for their affordability and food culture. They're well connected by only being 15 to 20 minutes away from the city on the train. But if you've watched my videos, I'm more of a beachy girl. I've even posted Sydney apartment tour and my pool house room tours. So I've always loved being by the beach, and I've lived in a lot of suburbs that are near the beach here, but some of my favorites are Randwick and Coogee, Rose Bay, Double Bay and Manly. If you love the beach, Randwick and Coogee are amazing. Randwick is even close to UNSW, and Coogee is a beachside suburb. They are a bit pricier, but the lifestyle makes it worth it because you're already where you want to be on the weekend. You don't have to go anywhere, and the city isn't far, especially if you live near the eastern suburbs. If you're in Manly or North Sydney, it's a little bit far because you have to go through the Sydney Harbour Bridge to get to the city. Now, in a nutshell, if I explain Sydney suburbs and their vibe, Sydney's eastern suburbs are really beachy. There's a lot of activity there in terms of things to do, and it's close to the city and unis as well. Sydney's CBD is a lot of students, a lot of businesses, so a lot of business professionals go there for work, and uni students of course for uni. Sydney's inner west, which is kind of like Newtown, Glebe, Pyrmont type of vibe. It's, in my perspective, a little bit more hip vibe, so very cool bars and fashion, and sometimes you can even be close to the water if you're in Pyrmont or Balmain. Now if you go a bit further out to Parramatta, Gladesville, Ryde, it's more suburban, but it's still really well connected. It's still really close to Sydney City, so you can pop in anytime. If you're not a frequent visitor of the city, that might be a good idea for you, especially if all your friends live out there as well. You know, you'll never have to get out that much, only if it's for work or uni or whatever. And if you're over the bridge in North Sydney here, it's a bit slow-paced life, but it's also great apartments with water views and cool beaches. So if you like more of the quieter vibe where not many things are happening but you have a nice place, that might be a good option for you. Now if you go northern beaches, that is where it gets a bit suburban, but it's beachside suburban vibe. So a lot of families, relaxed beachside life, also very fancy, just like the eastern suburbs, North Sydney, Manly. Everything on the east, pretty much, it's considered more bougie, and that's why it's pricier. But to be honest, I just love the lifestyle. Like, I cannot imagine living anywhere else and enjoying Sydney as much as I do. I love being on the east because I can get into the city anytime, come back anytime. It's well connected. I can always rely on public transport. There's a lot of things happening in the east in terms of things I can do on the weekend. A lot of people live here as well because it's beachside, and that's what Australia is about. And if not, you can always meet people in the city, which isn't far. So lastly, here are some of the tips that I have for you. Check flatmates.com.au, Facebook groups and university housing boards before you commit to a place. Also inspect a place before you put a bond down, which is your security deposit, because you have to make sure it looks as it's advertised, and you can get a sense of the suburb and the place and see if you want to live there. Consider transport. Living near a train line can make life so much easier. Sometimes buses are late, light rail can be cancelled, but if you're near the train, they're really fast. Or the metro line is also expanding here, so consider suburbs that are connected by the metro line. Of course, consider where your uni is. I didn't mention Macquarie Uni, but if you're going to Macquarie Uni, you might want to be close to Macquarie, Ryde, places like that, so you're still close to uni if that's your priority. Also, be realistic about your budget. Don't spend all your money on rent, and try to save on fixed costs if you can. Also, try to save on tuition so you can maybe live a better, comfortable life here. And I've got my scholarship template linked down below for you, which helped me a lot. So those are some of the best suburbs to live in Sydney. As an international student, I definitely needed this advice when I was considering moving here and not knowing what suburbs are like here and the vibes, but it really does depend on your uni budget and lifestyle, city convenience or suburban affordability or beach vibes. You decide. I'm posting almost every day on here about moving to Australia, living here, working here and studying here. Also some self-development and pop culture in there, so if that's your vibe, please subscribe. Also have a look at my Instagram for more Australian lifestyle content, and I'll see you next time.